So it has been a busy week, and I'm going to show you some of the recipes or ideas that you may have missed. Here we go, and they are so good. So I'm starting off with this breakfast fixation that I've had. I'm using these frozen chicken sausage links and this frozen bag of fire roasted vegetables. I love these. They're so convenient. Here I have some roasted sweet potato that I just keep in the fridge. So I added a cup of the veggies, they're frozen, into the pan with the sausage frozen, and I'm going to add some water to get things going. So I'm just making an individual breakfast for myself because everyone else ate. I had a late start to my morning. By the way, in my last grocery order, they mistakenly put ghee, so that's what I've been using. So I'm going to add like a teaspoon into the pan. And I'm doing a one-pan breakfast here. It might look like a hot mess, but it's been working for me. So 2 large eggs going in, and I'm just going to cook those. So I love sweet potato. I can eat this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm going to go for half of one, and breakfast is ready. So for the next recipe idea, I posted this on my other social media platforms, and it's so good. Here we go. This is a top tier duo, and I'm going to show you how I make it. It's so good and so simple to make. So I'm roasting at 400 degrees Fahrenheit a variety of tomatoes. It's 1.5 pounds with salt, oil, and some garlic. Once it's roasted like this, you'll peel the skin off the garlic and just pour it right into a blender cup. You could also roast some onion in there. I'm going to shake in some dried thyme, some smoked paprika, granulated onion powder, and some chicken bouillon powder. Give it a whirl. I also added like 3/4 cup of water and just let it puree and blend well. I'm pouring it into a preheated little pot, and you'll want to give it a stir, let it gently simmer for a little bit, add salt, pepper, and crushed red pepper flakes. Now, time to make my grilled cheese. I just like plain buttered white bread with a combination of Colby Jack and American cheese shredded, and you're just going to grill or cook this to golden brown perfection. And I love a good crispy, toasty, golden brown grilled cheese. Now, time to dunk. And this is one of my favorite soup and sandwich combos. And check out this crispy crunch. Oh my God. Today I'm making a Korean chicken ginseng soup called samgyetang, and it's so comforting. So here I have a package of Korean herbs and some of the glutinous rice. I have extra. I have a 4-pound chicken. Typically you would want to use like the Cornish hens, the smaller chickens, but this is all I had. So the first time I had this soup, my husband made this for me after I gave birth to our first son. He also made me a seaweed soup, but this soup was so comforting, and my mother-in-law guided him through it. His family lives in South Korea, so pretty much he was on the phone with him the entire time while he was making this. He was using his mother's recipe, but this is kind of an easier version because it all comes in a package. I think traditionally people will make this in the summer to help cool them off, but I can eat this year-round because it's so good. Here I'm just skimming off this foam. After about 30 minutes of boiling, I'm going to add like 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I'm also going to cover it with a lid and let it continue cooking for another hour until it's cooked through and tender. I removed this large chicken, and I'm going to just ladle the broth and some of the jujubes in a smaller bowl. And I've already cut up the chicken, and look, this is what was in the cavity. My husband loves this. I like to garnish with scallions and roasted sesame seeds on top. I made extra glutinous rice because my family loves it, and this is dinner. It is so delicious, comforting, and you gotta try it. So earlier this week, I posted a video for Marry Me butter beans, and they are so good. And if you want to check out the full recipe for these, I will put the link in the description below. But I gotta tell you, if you are looking for more fiber in your diet, or you just want a comforting, easy recipe using canned beans, you should try this. It's very versatile and it's so good. I like to serve it with toasty sourdough bread and kind of eat it as a dip for a meal. I don't know. It's so good. So you should give it a try and you should check it out. But this is one thing that I made this week. For this next meal idea, I'm using chicken wings. This is around 4 pounds of chicken wings, and I'm going to season with smoked paprika. Here I'm adding some lemon pepper, I'm also going to use a garlic herb blend and some onion powder, give it a mix, and I'm going to put it on a baking tray lined with parchment paper and bake these in the oven. I baked these in a preheated oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for close to an hour or until they look like this. You could eat these baked chicken wings right out of the oven. They're so good. But I am going to place them into a pot on the stove. I just baked them because it was easier than just frying it in the pot. I kind of had other things going on. And I'm going to pour all of these pan juices into the pot as well. That is flavor. By the way, this has been a meal fixation for my husband and son. They love this tikka masala sauce chicken wings. And I'm okay with that because it really is easy to put together. So you pour the jar over the baked chicken wings, give it a stir. I'm probably going to cover with a lid and let it simmer for another 10 to 15 minutes, and it's done. That's it. My husband and son love to serve it over rice, and that is the meal. It is so good, and it's easy. They make it themselves, so my husband's going to go ahead and serve himself some rice. And you definitely can make this and add other sides and different types of rice, but this is what they are content with. So he's just going to add all of the chicken wings on top. And I can already tell I'm going to need to hold the bowl for him because he wants a little bit of that sauce on the bottom. And you can also doctor up the sauce. I know I do. And it's really simple and easy to make. So this next recipe, I am going to show you how to make a low-carb, high-protein version for chicken barbecue pizza. I'm starting with a drained can of chicken breast. I drained it, put it in a bowl. This is kind of like that canned chicken breast pizza crust hack. Now the only thing I'm doing differently is I'm not going to add an egg into the mix. I wanted to see if just the cottage cheese and the chicken would bind together, and it actually did, but I think after I made this, adding the egg would probably work best. So I've added my cottage cheese, and I'm just going to season this sort of like with a ranch profile of flavors with the herbs, the dried herbs. I added chive, dillweed, parsley, and then I'm going to give it a mix. And essentially I'm going to put this on a baking sheet and shape it into a pizza crust. Now, some of you do like when I post low carb recipes. I kind of flip-flop. I try to sort of have like mindful eating these days. It's not something I'm adhering to strictly, but it does help. So give this a good mix, and like I said, shape it into a pizza crust shape on a baking sheet. You'll want to line it with parchment paper. It just makes your life a lot easier when you have to go and remove it from the baking pan. So just press that out into a pizza crust shape. And this chicken pizza crust hack is pretty versatile if you want to make different style of pizza and you really are trying to adhere to a low-carb lifestyle. I do this off and on. I don't know, it works. Okay, into an oven, and you'll want to bake that for about 20 minutes at 400 degrees. I am slicing up rotisserie chicken because this is going to be a barbecue chicken pizza. And you could also use a low-carb flour tortilla in place of the chicken crust hack, but the hack gives you more protein. So these are my toppings: chicken, scallion, cheese, red bell pepper, red onion that I thinly sliced. I'm using this like keto-friendly, sugar-free barbecue sauce. Again, it's up to you. Here's some garlic and herb blend that I'll season with, and this is what the pizza crust looks like so far. It probably could go a little bit longer, but I'm taking it out because I'm hungry and I want to try this. So now it's time to top. And if you are trying to be mindful with like calories, it's probably best to weigh and measure everything to just stay within your range. But if you're not, pile stuff on. It all works. It's going to be good. Okay, so a little bit of this barbecue sauce, just a tablespoon, and then that seasoning. And I'm putting this back into the oven, 400 degrees, until it looks like this. So I've removed it from the oven, and you can eat as is, but I'm going to add another tablespoon of barbecue sauce as a garnish, and some more scallions. And this is dinner. Super good. Cut it into 4 slices, and if you're looking for a low-carb version of pizza, well, here you go. It's really tasty.